Here's something that ought to make you a little angry. Almost every one of these discounts requires you to ask for it out loud. Not one of them is automatic. The cashier isn't going to offer. The website isn't going to pop up a box that says, "Are you sure you're not paying too much?" There are people standing in line right now, qualified, holding the ID that proves it, paying full price because nobody ever told them. So today we're doing 12 more. And I want to say more, because the last time I did one of these, the comment section turned into a better list than the video was, and about half of what's on today's list came straight out of there from you. Now, number 3 is the one I want everybody to hear, because it's $80 one time, it lasts the rest of your life, and it covers everybody sitting in your car. And number 1 isn't a discount at all. It's a program that puts somewhere between $2,000 and $6,000 a year back in people's pockets, and the government does not call you up to tell you about it. Millions of people qualify for it right now and never applied. Hi, I'm Marnie Doyle. I raised 3 kids on one income, and 20 years of that taught me one thing. Most of what you pay for is work you could do yourself in about a minute. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not old enough for most of these yet. But I started making these lists years ago when I took over my mother's paperwork, and let me tell you what I found in that shoebox. She had been paying full price for 11 years on things she qualified for the whole time. Not because she wasn't sharp. She's sharper than I am, because nobody tells you. There's no letter, there's no reminder. The savings sit there quietly, and if you don't reach out and take them, they just stay where they are. So this one's for my mother and for yours. Let's go. Number 12. Ross Dress for Less. Every Tuesday, if you're 55 or older, 10% off. They call it the Tuesday Club. There's no card, no sign up, no membership, no app to download. You show your ID at the register and you say you'd like the senior discount. And here's why this one's better than it sounds. Ross is already a discount store. That 10% isn't coming off a regular price. It's coming off a price that's already been cut. You're taking a discount off a discount, and those are the ones worth building your errands around. If you're going anyway, go on a Tuesday. That's the whole strategy. Same trip, same cart, different day of the week. Number 11. Michael's. 10% off if you're 55 or older, and this one's better than most because it's every single day, not one day a week. Every day. And it includes sale items, which almost nothing else does. You do have to sign up for their rewards program first, and I know nobody wants another account, but it's free and it takes about 2 minutes, and then it's attached to your phone number forever, and you never think about it again. Now, who's this for? Anybody who quilts, sews, paints, scrapbooks, does any kind of craft. But mostly it's for anybody who does Christmas. Because if you make wreaths or ornaments, or you're the one in the family who does the decorating, 10% off a craft store in November and December is a real number, not $2. Real money. Number 10. Goodwill and the thrift stores. Most Goodwill locations run a senior day, usually Tuesday or Wednesday, usually 10 to 30% off, usually 55 or older. And I have to be straight with you, this one varies more than anything else on this list. Goodwill isn't one company, it's a whole bunch of regional organizations, so the day changes, the percentage changes, and not every store does it at all. So call your local one phone call, one time, and then you know your store's day forever. Salvation Army runs senior days at a lot of locations too. And I'll tell you where the real money is in this one, and it isn't clothes. It's furniture. It's when a grandchild's setting up a first apartment, or somebody's downsizing and needs a smaller dresser, or you need a chair for the spare room. A solid wood dresser at a thrift store is $40, and 30% off $40 on the right Tuesday means you furnished a room for what a throw pillow costs at the mall. Number 9. Kohl's. 15% off on Wednesdays if you're 60 or older. In store, not online, and you'll need your ID. One catch, and this is the part people get wrong at the register. You generally can't stack it with a % off coupon on the same trip. So if you've got one of those 30% off coupons in your purse, the coupon's the better deal. Use that instead and skip the Wednesday. But if you don't have a coupon, Wednesday's your day. And I'll say this plainly because I'd rather you hear it from me than find out at the register. Kohl's has been quietly pulling back on this in some markets, and you'll find articles saying it's gone. As of right now, it's still running at most stores, but this is the exact kind of thing that disappears without an announcement. So ask. And if your store tells you it ended, don't argue with the girl at the register. She didn't decide it. Just come back another day with a coupon. Number 8. Rite Aid. If you're 65 or older, they've got a rewards tier just for you. The headline is 5 times the points on the first Wednesday of every month, which sounds like nothing until you realize that's the day you should be buying anything you were going to buy there anyway. But here's the part I actually care about, and it's not the points. It's the free pharmacist consultations. If you or somebody you're caring for is taking 6, 8, 10 different medications from 2 or 3 different doctors, and nobody has ever sat down and looked at the whole list at once, that consultation is worth more than every discount in this video. Doctors don't always talk to each other. Pharmacists see the whole picture. Ask for it. It's free and almost nobody uses it. Number 7. Amtrak. 10% off most fares if you're 65 or older. You don't need a card or a code. When you're booking, you change the passenger type from adult to senior, and the price drops right there on the screen. Bring your ID for the conductor. And on the routes that run up into Canada, jointly with VIA Rail, it starts at 60 instead of 65. 10% isn't going to change your life, I know, but here's the thing about the train that nobody does the arithmetic on. Compare it against flying, and don't just compare the ticket. Add the bag fee, add the parking at the airport, add the ride to and from, add the fact that you have to be there 2 hours early and take your shoes off. The train leaves from downtown, you carry your own bag on for free, there's no security line, and the seats are the size of a first-class airplane seat. On anything under about 8 hours, it comes out even or better, and you actually arrive feeling like a person. And while we're on transportation, go look up your local transit system. Almost every city bus and rail system in the country runs a reduced senior fare, and a lot of them are half price or free after a certain age. It's usually a little card you get once at their downtown office. Nobody advertises it because they're not selling anything. All right, that's the shopping. Now we get into the ones that are actually worth real money. And I want to say something first, because this is the part of these videos where I could just keep listing stores and you'd keep watching. The truth is, 10% off a shirt is fine, but it isn't going to change anybody's month. The next 5 will. These are the ones where the number has a comma in it. And they're all harder because every single one of them requires filling out a form, and that's exactly why nobody does them. The store discount takes 1 sentence at a register. The big ones take an afternoon. That's the whole reason the money is still sitting there. If you want more of the straight version instead of the padded version, go ahead and subscribe. And if your parents would get something out of this, send it to them, because I promise you they're not searching for it themselves. Number 6, Sam's Club. If you're 50 and older, they knock $30 off a club membership and $50 off a plus membership. Now, is a warehouse club worth it for 1 or 2 people? Sometimes not. And I'll say that, even though it costs me the tidy ending. If you're cooking for 2 and you don't have freezer space, a 12-pound bag of anything is not a bargain. It's a problem. But there's a piece of this people miss. The pharmacy and the optical counter at these clubs are usually open to non-members, or the membership pays for itself on the eyeglasses alone. Hearing aids too, and I'll come back to that in a second. If you wear glasses and you've been paying $400 at the strip mall place, price a pair at a warehouse club before you renew that prescription. It's frequently half. Number 5, your cell phone bill. This is one where most people are just paying whatever they started paying in 2016. AT&T runs plans built for 55 and up that run substantially less than the standard lines. Consumer Cellular does a discount on service and a bigger one on accessories through AARP. And their whole business is older customers, so the customer service is actually a human being. T-Mobile has run age-based plans as well. Here's what I want you to actually do, because switching carriers is a chore, and most people won't. Call your own company, say you've seen there are plans for customers 55 and up, and you'd like to know what you'd pay on one. That's it. That's the whole phone call. 20 minutes on hold, and a lot of people come off that call paying $20 or $30 a month less than they were. $20 a month is $240 a year for one phone call you make once. And while you've got them, ask what you're paying for insurance on a phone you've had for 4 years, because that's usually money going straight down a hole. Number 4, free college. I'm going to say that again because people think they misheard it. Free college. Almost every state in the country lets older residents take classes at the state schools for free or close to it. Most of them start at 60. Colorado, Louisiana, and Tennessee start at 55. Only a handful of states have nothing statewide, and even in those, individual schools often do it anyway. The California state system waives the fees for residents over 60 across all their campuses, and it comes out to just a few dollars a semester. Florida lets residents 60 and up audit classes at the state universities on a waiver. Ohio lets residents 60 and older sit in at any state college. Delaware runs an over 60 program where you can go get an actual degree, tuition free. Now, there are catches, and I'll give them to you honestly. It's usually space available, meaning you register last after the paying students. It's often auditing rather than credit, though not always. And you still pay for books and parking and lab fees. But think about what that replaces. People spend real money on continuing education, on hobby classes, on those lecture subscriptions online. This is a professor, a classroom, and a campus. And if you always wanted to study history or take a language or finally understand economics, it's sitting there for the price of a parking pass. Call the registrar's office at your nearest state school and ask about the senior audit or waiver program. They know exactly what you mean when you ask. Number 3, the National Park Pass. Here it is. This is the one I tell everybody about. If you're 62 or older and a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, you can buy the America the Beautiful Senior Pass. $80 one time, and it's good for the rest of your life. There's also a $20 annual version if you'd rather start there. And here's a nice detail most people don't know. If you buy 4 of the annual ones, you can trade them in for the lifetime pass. That pass gets you into more than 2,000 federal recreation sites, not just the famous national parks, national forests, wildlife refuges, Bureau of Land Management land, Army Corps lakes, all of it. And this is the part that makes it a family thing instead of a you thing. At the parks that charge by the vehicle, that pass covers the vehicle. Everybody in the car. So when the grandkids come in July and you drive them out to see something enormous, you're the reason the whole carload gets in. Most of the big parks run $20 to $35 a vehicle. So 3 trips and the lifetime pass has already paid for itself, and then it just keeps going for another 20 years. It also takes 50% off camping fees at federal campgrounds, which on its own can cover the $80 in a single week-long trip. One practical tip, and then I'll move on. Buy it in person at a park entrance or a federal office if you possibly can, because ordering it online adds processing and handling fees that run it up another $10 or $12. As of this year, there's also a digital version through recreation.gov if you'd rather have it on your phone. Number 2, your property tax bill. Now we're into real money, and this is the one that made me the maddest when I found out my mother had been overpaying for years. Nearly every state in this country has something for older homeowners on property taxes. It comes in about 4 flavors. There's an exemption, which knocks a chunk of value off your house before they calculate the tax. There's a freeze, which locks your assessment or your bill so it stops climbing while the neighborhood gets expensive around you. There's a credit, which refunds part of it, and there's a deferral, which lets you postpone it entirely, though be careful with that one because it's a loan against the house, not a discount. And the amounts are not small. Texas gives homeowners over 65 an extra school tax exemption and freezes the school tax so it can go down but never up. Illinois freezes the assessed value for qualifying homeowners 65 and up under an income cap. Florida lets seniors stack a senior exemption on top of the regular homestead exemption. New Jersey has a program that can run into the thousands. In Alabama, a low-income senior can be exempt from property tax entirely. In parts of Georgia, seniors have had the school portion removed, and the school portion is often more than half the whole bill. Here's the sentence I need you to hear. Almost none of this happens automatically. You have to apply, usually at your county assessor or treasurer, usually by a deadline, and some of them you have to renew every single year. And here's the mistake that costs people the most. They assume they make too much to qualify. The income limits are frequently a lot higher than people expect, and many programs don't count all of your Social Security. Do not rule yourself out on a guess. Call the county assessor's office and ask them to walk you through every exemption available on your home. It's a phone call. It's usually one page. And if you're the adult child listening to this is one of the highest value hours you will ever spend for a parent. And you can usually fill it out on their behalf with their signature. And number 1, the Medicare Savings Programs and Extra Help. This is the biggest one on this list, and it isn't close. It's not a discount, it's not a coupon, and there's no register involved. It's a set of programs that pay your Medicare costs for you. Here's the arithmetic. Everyone on Medicare Part B pays a monthly premium, and in 2026, that's a little over $200 a month. If you qualify for one of the Medicare savings programs, the state pays that premium instead of you. That alone is right around $2,400 a year back in your pocket. And on the widest of the programs, the one called QMB, it doesn't stop at the premium. It also covers your deductibles and your copays, and providers are barred by federal law from billing you for them. Now here's the part that most people, including a lot of people who work in this, don't realize. Enrolling in any one of those programs automatically qualifies you for Extra Help, which is the program that handles prescription drug costs. You don't file a second application, it just comes with it. And Extra Help means no drug plan premium, no deductible, and copays of about $5 for a generic and about $12 for a brand name. Social Security estimates that benefit alone is worth several $1,000s a year. Put the two together, and depending on your health, you're looking at somewhere between about $2,500 and $6,000 a year. So who qualifies? It's based on monthly income and on countable resources, and the limits go up every year. For most states in 2026, the income cutoffs run from roughly $1,350 a month for a single person on the most generous program, up to a little over $1,800 a month on the narrowest one. With the couple figures higher, the resource limit is right around $10,000 for an individual and about $15,000 for a couple. And I want to stop on that word, resources, because this is where people quit. Resources means countable things like savings accounts and stocks. It does not mean everything you own. Your house isn't counted. Your car generally isn't counted, and more than a dozen states, including places like New York, Arizona, Connecticut, Louisiana, Maine, and Oregon, have thrown out the asset test entirely. I've watched people count up everything they own, including the value of a paid-off house and a 14-year-old sedan, and decide they don't qualify, and they were wrong, and it cost them thousands of dollars a year for years. So here's what to do, and it's easier than everything I just said. Every state has something called a SHIP, a State Health Insurance Assistance Program. It's free, it's not selling you anything, and a counselor will sit with you and figure out what you qualify for and help you fill out the form. Your local area agency on aging will connect you to them. That's the phone call. You don't have to understand any of this. You just have to make the call. One footnote, because it matters. The narrowest of these programs, the one called QI, has limited funding and it's first come, first served, and you have to reapply for it every year. So don't sit on it. All right, before I let you go, let me tell you 3 things not to bother with, because a lot of these lists will send you on a wild goose chase, and I'd rather be useful than long. McDonald's does not have a company-wide senior discount and hasn't for years. A few franchises do something on coffee. Don't count on it. Costco has no senior discount. Not a small one, none. It's a good store, but that's not why. And the big home improvement stores don't have a general senior discount either. They do military. People go in asking and get told no and feel foolish, and you shouldn't, because half the internet says otherwise. So that's the 12. Ross, Michaels, the thrift stores, Kohl's, Rite Aid, Amtrak, the warehouse club membership, your phone bill, free college, the park pass, your property taxes, and the Medicare savings programs. And here's what I want to leave you with. Look at how that list is shaped. The little ones at the top take one sentence out loud at a register. The big ones at the bottom take a form and an afternoon. And that is not a coincidence, that's the design. Nobody's hiding these. They're just sitting behind a small amount of paperwork, and paperwork is a very effective wall. The programs get to exist, everybody gets credit for having them, and most of the money never has to leave the building because the applications don't come in. So don't do all 12. Nobody does all 12. Do one, just one. And if you're going to pick one, pick number 1, and pick up the phone and ask for your SHIP counselor. It's the biggest number on the page, and somebody else does the hard part for you. Now tell me in the comments, what's the senior discount you found by accident? The one where somebody just happened to mention it and you thought, how long has that been there? And the other one I want to know, and be honest with me, what's the one you know you qualify for and still haven't filled out the paperwork on? Because half of us have one of those sitting on the kitchen counter right now, and I'm including myself. I read every one of these, and I mean that. The last list was mostly yours. Next time I'm doing the one a lot of you asked for after the last video, which is the discounts and programs that come with a diagnosis rather than an age. Hearing aids, vision, dental, mobility equipment, the things Medicare says it doesn't cover and then quietly covers in certain circumstances. That one deserves its own video, and I'm going to do it properly. I'll see you then.